I recently published a video where I was saying that social media is the new SEO, right? This is how we are being found as creators today, not because of search terms and things like that, but because of algorithms on platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Shorts and every other platform that's out there. There are so many of them. So the big question is, which one should we focus on where we can get some results? And there's one social media platform in particular that some might consider new as a thought, but it's actually been one that's been around for a very long time. And this is where I want to focus today because there's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of my colleagues are utilizing this platform to not just be found and build followers, but to actually make real sales. And that platform is LinkedIn. Yes, I actually said it, LinkedIn. And recently I've been exploring on LinkedIn. I found a tool that's been really neat to help me with that as well. And I'm going to share some things with you that are going to help you understand how to use LinkedIn, do it efficiently, and actually get some followers and sales. Okay, before you go, I know I said the L word, LinkedIn, but yes, I know it was built in 2003 and it's kind of been slow and it's kind of where professionals hang out. And if you make a certain amount of money, cool, maybe that's a platform for business professionals. But like I said, it is working very well. In fact, I saw Chris Donnelly speak on stage recently at Craft and Commerce and talking about how LinkedIn has been the #1 platform that he's using for business growth and sales. And a lot of people are following the same suit. There is not as much anonymity on the platform. Anonymity. People aren't hiding. The real names are on there. The real jobs, connections to real people. This is why you don't see a lot of crap on the platform. That's why it's actually a really clean, great place to show up and build a following. Now let's distill, why is LinkedIn working so well right now? And a part of my theory is that it's working so well because it doesn't have all the fancy algorithmic things that we see on these other platforms. It hasn't yet gone into, although there is video, it hasn't gone super heavy into short form video, and it hasn't turned into the mess that some people might consider TikTok and Reels and Shorts. There's a certain caliber of people that are on there, and especially if you are focusing on education or focusing on people at a certain income level, this is a huge opportunity because not a lot of people are posting there. And here's the trick, I'm just gonna tell you right away. It is those who are consistent on LinkedIn who are absolutely crushing it on the platform. Consistency is key there. And it is key on many other platforms, but it's not as hard on LinkedIn as you might think because all you have to do is show up and post, but also you need to reply. The algorithm on LinkedIn very much takes into account the interaction and engagement that you have on other people's accounts as well. And that's where it can get a little difficult and maybe why a lot of people avoid it because it's not just a place that you can post and hope. There is some interaction involved, but this is kind of why I like it too. Okay, so I have a 3-part strategy I want to share with you here in this video and a tool that will help make all of that much, much easier. It's going to save you loads of time and it's one that I've been using and loving. So to help you out, this is what I like to call CIA strategy, CIA. Don't worry, I'm not like tapping into your phones or anything like that. It's just the letters that happen to come about. So let's start with C. What is that? That is content. Yes, you need content and you need to be consistent with it, but what do you create and how do you do it? There are a lot of different types of content that work on the platform. And right now, carousels are doing an amazing job. So if you can create carousels on there, video is something that LinkedIn has just recently gotten on board with and attempting video as well. Neil Patel is somebody who I know has been doing a daily video on LinkedIn and doing extremely well with it. So you can kind of follow his lead. And if you look at people like Chris Donnelly, the #1 LinkedIn person in the world, the most followed person on LinkedIn, you'll be able to follow a lot of suit on what he's doing. He's got a lot of visuals. He has a lot of carousels to get people not just to kind of see what he's posting about, this engaging content related to business, but to actually engage with it, to click on it, to scroll through. These are all factors that LinkedIn takes into account for how many more people are going to see your stuff. A lot of the same content rules apply as they do with other platforms, making sure you have a really good hook. But in this case, oftentimes it's done with a written post. What I actually really love about LinkedIn is it almost feels like how blogging used to feel back in the early 2000s, where if you just wrote really good content, and of course you need a good hook, you could find people to follow. You could find people to engage with, and they will follow each other and you follow them. And it just has this really organic feel to the content creation that we have, which is not how it often feels in some of these other platforms. So it does have that old school feel. And this is why if you're a writer and you love writing, LinkedIn is actually a really good platform for you because it still rewards a lot of good writing. Speaking of that, that takes us to part 2, which is the I, or interaction. The algorithm, like I said, favors interaction. So going to other people's accounts and replying and interacting with them is going to be really key. Having other people who have larger followings interact with you is going to be really key as well. Chris Donnelly, who I mentioned earlier, he was talking about how he and a few others actually created almost like a little group, and they would always support each other when they posted their stuff and always would comment and reply, which would then see all of them kind of grow together. And that can be done here on LinkedIn even today. Again, one of the interesting things about LinkedIn is that there's just not a ton of content being published on the platform. So again, if you're creating content, great, you could be found. However, if you're also commenting on other people's stuff, your followers can see that as well. So you will be shown a little bit more. It's kind of how the algorithm works. I'm still discovering a lot about the LinkedIn algorithm, but it does favor interaction. And here's the thing, if you get a big name commenting on your stuff because they found you or you've built a relationship with them, and this is why even going to events and linking up with people, connecting on LinkedIn is great at events and something that should be done more. If somebody big comments on your stuff, their followers will see that person's comment on your stuff and could make their way over to you as well. So again, it just favors engagement. It favors getting involved. And that is very, very key. So coming up with these little groups, managing your time and having stuff in your calendar to go in and actually reply to people and interact and be genuine about that as well. Not just like cool or, small little comments like that, but actually getting involved in the comment section and having conversations can be really, really great for growing on this platform. And although there aren't as many potential followers on this platform as potentially others, the quality of the type of person who's on here is much, much higher as well. So especially if you have a small business and you're looking for customers and partners and referrals and those kinds of things, LinkedIn is huge. So that was I. So we have C, I, and now A. And this is the one thing I love about this tool that I'm going to talk about, and that is analytics. Analytics on social media platforms are very, very important. On places like YouTube, that give you a ton. You can do a lot with that. You can learn a lot about what's working and what's not. Other platforms like podcasting platforms are pretty archaic in what they offer you, and therefore it's hard to understand what's going on. But when you start to see your growth happen, and when you start to see certain posts attract more people than others, when you start to see this engagement and interaction that you're doing actually working, it encourages you to keep going and doing more of what is working. So this is where I want to take you with Taplio, because look at my screen now. You are seeing LinkedIn, my feed, as it is. And speaking of Neil Patel, here he is today. If I go to Taplio and I actually integrate it, you'll see it on this screen. Look at here, key indicators here on the right-hand side: followers, impressions, engagements, and profile views. By the way, impressions and engagements are down because I had once published my book recently and was getting a lot of feedback on that. And now it's been a few weeks since. But as you can see, my followers are growing. My profile views are growing. And I have a now more engaged LinkedIn profile. And it has already, even in the few months experimenting with this tool and this platform, has accounted for more business growth. It's accounted for some partnerships and partnership opportunities that wouldn't have happened otherwise. In fact, some of my advisory work is a result of connections that were made on LinkedIn, not anywhere else, LinkedIn. So by the way, Taplio is the sponsor of this video. It is a tool that can help you with a lot of the things we talked about today to help you remain consistent. You can even start scheduling posts on LinkedIn to be able to get ahead of it and show up consistently. But more than that, I'm going to show you one of my favorite parts of Taplio here is you're able to engage with people even more without having to go find them. You can actually bring them here into your Taplio dashboard and platform and actually start interacting with them here. And just through Taplio, be able to reply to way more people and have these interactions that are key, like I said, in an instant. Taplio is a tool that was built to help you do well on LinkedIn. That's literally what it was built for. And it actually pulls out those things that are important, like I was talking about. For example, here on the dashboard, you can see engage with people who comment on your posts. So replying to posts and replying to comments on your own stuff is really key to kind of establish that momentum and those interactions. So Julia here commented 6 hours ago about my book recently, which was really nice. And look, even Mohammed here says, Taplio sounds like a game changer for streamlining content strategy and growth on LinkedIn. I swear I didn't even know that was there. Luke, the biggest thing I focused on is just being consistent, showing up, delivering value. And so I can even, without having to go to LinkedIn, I can just be right here in the dashboard and reply. Taplio has been huge for me in the few months I've been using it. Reply. Boom. And then another one comes in. And again, if I schedule my calendar 30 minutes of just replying and engaging here on this platform through Taplio, I can get through dozens, and I start to see numbers go up kind of automatically. If I actually go to this Engage tab over here, I can actually create a small group of people. If I wanted to connect with others, or maybe I met them at an event, and I said, hey, let's form a little pod and make sure that whenever each of us comes out with a post that we interact with each other. Again, like I said, that strategy works, and it worked for people like Chris Donnelly. So I'm gonna go to With People, and here I can create a little contact list. So I'm gonna put, I can have people who like my posts. Please select a contact list. So I need to create a contact list first in order to do that. So to do that, I'm gonna go to Contacts. I'm gonna add people to my list. So let's add Caleb's account here. There's Caleb. I'm gonna add one more just for demonstration purposes. Matt Gartland, add. There's Matt, and I'm gonna hit add people. Now this becomes a contact list that I can now make sure that when they have a post, or I post, or they reply, or I reply, we all kind of support each other in that way. Now under Q, this is probably the most powerful thing. I used it for a couple weeks, and then I launched my book, so I haven't been catching up. But this is where you can actually schedule posts, and this is where batch processing works really, really well. On a platform that requires consistency, batch processing your posts is really, really smart. That means taking maybe just 1 or 2 days to post an entire week and or month's worth of stuff. And again, you can pull inspiration. If I go to inspiration here, and I can actually pull inspiration from other topics that are being spoken about and seemingly are popular right now. If I wanted to kind of piggyback off of that popularity, I can do that here too. I can write a post. If I click write a post, it takes me to a composition area. So again, I can do all of my LinkedIn work right inside of Taplio. I don't ever have to leave even. And I can add it to the queue or schedule it for another time and just write it in here. There is some AI help that can happen inside of these posts as well. I can click this for help me find ideas. I can use this to improve my posts. As you can see there, use AI to improve or continue your posts. I can say, for example, let's just write this for fun. It's been 2 weeks since I found out I was a New York Times bestseller. Has my life changed since? To be honest, not really, but that's okay. And again, if I still need some ideas, I can go here and search for things, let's say book writing. Here's some people who have recently published about their book. Ghostwriters, ghostwriting, etc. That's kind of cool. Now I mentioned analytics, and this is where Taplio really excels. If I go to analytics here, I can go even deeper into some of the things that have happened recently, followers gained, and the posts that generated the most help with that. So you could see here when I hit the New York Times list, this one had several comments, and I can even go in here and start commenting on those as well. I can have a much more detailed post performance in a report down here as well. Just so many amazing opportunities to just go deeper into this. Now I will say, Taplio, like many other tools that can help you with productivity, if you don't approach them correctly, can actually suck up even more of your time because of just how much stuff you can do with it. So I would try to approach LinkedIn in a simple manner using the 3 things that I talked about earlier. 1, content. Create content that's relevant for your audience and show up consistently. I, interact, engage. Use Taplio to do that much, much faster. And again, schedule that in either every day or batch process that every other day or every week and do a lot of replying and reply to other people. Number 3 is the analytics. Go in there and see what's working. And once you do see what's working, and I found that for me, it's sharing a lot of the behind the scenes of what I do. I've shared more educational stuff, but I found that for my audience in particular, people who are learning how to start an online business, they get their information about how to start their business elsewhere. They, at least my followers on LinkedIn, really enjoy the vulnerability of the stuff that I talk about, like leading up to the book launch and some of the posts that I shared about how scared I was to publish this and how worried I was. And that really resonated with a lot of people too. And I think just in general, sharing a little bit more behind the scenes is always a smart strategy, especially in this world of AI, where we all have baseline access to the same information. It is the stories around that information that's going to be really something that helps you stand out on platforms like LinkedIn and all the other platforms you're on too. And again, to help you speed up your results on a platform like LinkedIn, check out Taplio. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/Taplio, you'll be able to get a free trial, and that is an affiliate link. We do get a little kickback if you do choose to use it, but for what it is and what it can do for you, it is absolutely worth the investment. And it's already helped me, and it can help you to stay consistent with it, and you will see some results that you weren't able to get before. And thank you to Taplio for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching all the way through, and hopefully you're open to the idea of using LinkedIn to help you build your business and grow your following. So good luck to you, and again, smartpassiveincome.com/Taplio to get access to the free trial for this amazing tool, and good luck.